Oh, hello there. It's me, Brendan. And sitting here with me is...
It's Frank.
It's Frank. Oh my God. I went to lead you into your name and
I know,
then
you
made
went to
you
say
do it.
my name over the top of my name.
Oh, who else have we got here, Frank?
It's
Marty.
And he did what I did because we're all great friends. Welcome back to the Hammerbarn Project. This is a little podcast that we do because, hey, we're only human, and that means we love Bluey. And so should you, and I'm sure you do.
This episode of the Hammerbarn Project is called Perseverance.
What episode are we here to talk about today?
This episode of Bluey is called Black.
Nice. Well, yeah.
How do we normally start the show, Brendan? What's the first thing you do when you're talking about an episode? We need a
little episode recap, as
Yes.
I like to say.
I thought it was the bark down.
No. I think the way I had it, was that we did the recap first because that's just the bare bones,
Right.
and then
Why not just call it the bare bones?
That's way
That's
better.
way better.
That's so much better.
It doesn't.
All right, so let's
we
go
are
back
with
and
the bare
edit that I ever made that pun.
This episode, Bluey's desperately trying to figure out how to ride this bike. She can't manage it. She's like very frustrated, and she goes over to sit with Dad and it's like, I'm never going to try this again. And then they proceed to watch a series of vignettes about other people having difficulties in their lives and overcoming them to Ode to Joy, which is just like priceless.
I could have had it written down that Martin will use the word vignette in his bare bones recap, and yep, I should have put money on that. I love just the fact that at the very start, like, Bandit's kind of sort of not involved, and
He's
you're like,
he's practically sleeping, isn't he?
yeah,
He's got his eyes closed. He's on the bench. He's outside of the park. The kids are running around doing whatever. He's just like, he's just have a nap.
He's just chill, and for a moment there, I thought, oh, is he gonna? But then he goes, "Are you sure you don't want any help?" And I love that, like, it's just another reveal of Bluey's character. Really, she's just like, "No, I want to," she's a perseverant sort of pup.
There's that word.
I think it could be the lateral thinking episode.
Well, I was gonna. I had that in my notes to say all the three problems that assail the other characters in this episode. They all come up with unorthodox ways to solve the problem to get to the end goal, sort of thing. So to backtrack a little bit, Bluey can't ride her bike. She keeps falling off. And then she gets tired of it and goes, "This bike is silly. I'm never doing this ever again. The world is silly." And Bandit's like, "Well, can't argue with that."
Yep.
And then while she's sitting on the bench with Dad, she sees her cousin Muffin, a friend Bentley, and of course her sister Bingo, all trying to do what seem like simple things and having a bit of a hard time of it. I'll tell you what, let's go around the room. If we were to go, which one of us here is Bingo, which one of us is Bentley, and which one of us is Muffin? Look, I'm going to have to put my hand up and say Muffin because I probably have the biggest temper of the three of us. I would be the one to go, this backpack is not going on my left arm. I'm just going to spin in a circle, and when that doesn't work, I'm going to jump up and down and stomp the damn thing to death.
Yeah, and you do rock the gif of that. The this is unacceptable.
This is unacceptable.
Yeah. Before I'd even seen that episode, you used that gif with me, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to seek this episode out because that's Frank.
So are you a Monkey Bars kid, Brendan?
Not really. I think one thing I can relate to is the when you get on there, just the hanging.
I'd like to get down now.
Maybe my favourite line from the episode. But I'm relating more with Bingo with that because just getting frustrated with this thing, and it should be something that should be so easy. I suppose you could say the same for the drinking fountain and the monkey bars. Oh, I don't know, because they both get upset. This is, it's great to ask Brendan a question that he then proceeds to talk through his whole process.
And not actually answer.
Get that guy on a podcast.
Marty, which one are you?
Yeah, you take one,
well,
Marty.
I'll take Bentley. So,
You'll take Bentley? Well, bingo then. That's what we should have done to begin with. These people who are actually adult men.
Never ask Brendan anything.
Maybe it's because you're the dads and you have had to go, my decisions count, not just for me, whereas I just kind of do my own thing. And so yeah, it just ends up taking forever.
I do love with Bentley when he's trying. Bentley's a he, is that correct?
I think Bentley is a girl. I don't know. They said I thought I heard because I needed to rewatch the episode and I just rewatched it then. But it was when you were putting your Jack to sleep,
Right.
Frank. So so we had to have it a little quieter. And I was like, oh, did they say he or she or something?
Yeah. I thought it was a he because obviously Muffin and Bingo are girls. So anyway, but Bentley, gender undetermined at this point, is trying to basically go on the monkey bars. It's not happening. Bentley can't reach, and then Mackenzie, who is the New Zealand sheepdog, for lack of a better description, just comes along, just just swings along, and to me, I'm just going, those damn athletic New Zealanders and their athletic prowess. Stop it. All he needed to do was wear like an All Blacks Guernsey and you just would have been like, oh, Mackenzie.
Chloe's the same too. Chloe the Dalmatian just come in and flip, flip, flip. And then poor Bentley's like, oh, I should be able to do this. Why can't I do it straight away? Oh man, there's nothing that I can relate to more than the thought, oh, why can't I just do this straight away? Yeah, that's the story of my life. I'm with you, Bentley.
Bingo's phrase of like, just the complete over exaggeration of just like, oh no, I'll never be able to drink water again.
yeah, that's such a Bingo thing.
To the extreme.
Yeah.
And just the I think I also relate it to Brendan just because it's just that you said, oh, they're both sad, but Bingo is just so sad, crunched down at a ball under
the shadow of it. Yeah,
the ears backwards in that classic sort of
And the Bingo solution in the end turns out to be a bit gross. So that's also, that should have tipped me off straight away. Definitely Bingo.
Of the three of us, Brendan is the most likely to lick liquid off the floor.
It's true. If it's the only way you can get it and you're scared that you're never going to drink water ever again, then...
I mean, that's, in the words of Bandit, it's less than ideal, but it's still a win.
Just that brief pause and you're just watching her lick. And then the thumb goes up.
And she doesn't stop licking, like she's still drinking.
Just
then the thumb comes out.
And it's, in effect, it's to camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. But while there are all these, characters in the different narratives, I think this is Bandit Dad in his most guru-esque form.
He's a commentator. He's a footy commentator, isn't he? Like,
yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it like that. I'm thinking more of like this Yoda-esque character who's just, talking, gonna like, no, wait.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, okay.
This is going to result. Even just the way he's, she sits down, chucks the bike and the helmet to the side. I'm never going to do this again. And just the delivery of the line of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure, you're never going to try this again.
Yeah.
He knows all. He sees all, especially when you have those couple of shots at the end of just beautiful serenity.
Yes.
Just lying back on that bench and just like, taking it all in.
And if you want a story that's relatable, everyone remembers learning to ride a bike. Maybe we could have a new segment called For Real Life?
For real life?
Because sometimes some episodes of Bluey just make me think about that time in my life.
I like it.
And my mum and dad, mum was born in Ireland, dad was born in England, and they moved to Australia and they grew up and met in Adelaide. So Adelaide boy through and through, even though dad was in the Navy and moved around a bit. So I was actually born, and not far from where you are now, Marty. I was born in Penrith, New South Wales. And so and then moved to Melbourne, then back to Sydney, then to Adelaide. And so
But an Adelaide boy through and through.
Adelaide boy through and through. I don't tell that story all the time because people will find out that, oh, so you weren't born here. One of the biggest irks of my life is that I wasn't born in the place that I call home. But hey, maybe that's the lot in life for the son of a sailor, I suppose. But I remember when and where I learnt to ride a bike. So this episode speaks volumes to me because it's like the car park area, sort of like, well, I mean, it's the basketball court of the park. But we moved back to Adelaide at the end of 1990, and I remember Christmas 1990. We didn't have our house yet, so we spent Christmas in a hotel. And
How did your whole family fit in a hotel?
I know, right? Like, that's a good point. Like, I'm one of 7 kids. So at the time, admittedly, there were only 6 of us. So there were 3 boys, 3 girls in these 2 rooms that could adjoin. It was one of those like road motels, sort of. So these 2 rooms they could adjoin if you wanted. And there were trundle beds, and somehow, full credit to my mum and dad, they managed to have the whole Christmas morning. There were presents at the foot of our hotel beds. And for me, there was a new bike. And there was actually a plush Michelangelo as well, Frank. You'll be happy about that. I remember that. And we got our first computer. But I remember being in the car park of the hotel on Christmas Day with my new bike and Dad like holding onto the seat behind me because like this was my first bike without training wheels. Ooh. And I remember like the feeling of Dad like steadying the seat. And then not noticing when he'd let go for the first time, and then going, "Oh my God! Like, are you holding me? Are you holding me?" And it's like, "No, you're not." And no, he's not. And it's like, nah, it takes me back.
For real life.
For real life.
I had a very similar thing in the fact that, like, with the opening shot, you can see her riding the bike on the basketball court. And yeah, I learned to ride a bike on a tennis court. So it's just that thing of like these open sports areas, convenient for learning how to ride.
With the bike and at the end, where she learns to ride. For mine, I just feel like they could have ended this episode about 4 seconds earlier. Bluey's watched all this perseverance and determination of her friends. Then she gets up, puts the helmet on. I would just like to see her put 1 foot on the bike and then credits. Like, I don't actually need to see her take off on the bike because, I think Bandit says, "Nice work, Bluey." Yeah. And then it cuts back to Bluey and she's about to, and you see her sort of take, one sort of wheel turn's worth of traveling. Stop it 3 seconds earlier. Nice work, Bluey. See her put 1 foot on the bike. Scene. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's a very, very minor quibble.
Sort of ending.
I want to know in my head and go, yeah, no, I reckon she did it. Like, rather than be shown it, I think. And that's a totally minor quibble with an otherwise beautiful episode.
I think there's still the opportunity for her to fall over. I thought that's what they did do. They cut it.
Yeah, because it kind of pulls back, but it's the getting back up, isn't it? That's what the whole episode's about. And it actually reminded me, especially because it's Bingo and Muffin particularly. I'm quite late to the whole Marvel movie thing. Like, I don't go absolutely crazy for them, but Captain Marvel, I must admit, that brought tears to my eye. No spoilers, if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, so maybe skip forward. But the whole just getting back up, as someone with 4 sisters, some of my favorite people in the world are women who, like, in general, maybe have a little bit of harder time in society than men. I don't think that's too. I don't think that's too groundbreaking to say. And just getting back up when she keeps getting up. That's just...
Hey, can I propose a new segment for the show?
Oh, please do. Excellent.
Can I propose a segment? We call it the doggy treats. We've now established we're doing these episodes out of sequence. They're not in the order that they were first published. So, and because we've also seen episodes that take place after, in the case of Bike, which is quite early in season 1, I want to say doggy treats are little in-house references or things that point to another episode. Now, in the case of this one, the example I'll give is, it's actually in the very title card where it says Bike, it's Muffin's backpack. Now, that is a Chutney Chimp backpack. Basically a cartoon character they refer to a couple of times, I think even in Takeaway, where they say, 5 minutes, that's a whole nother episode of Chutney Chimp. And then much later in season 2, in an episode called Movies, I believe, that is the chimp that they go to see at the movie, and it's got a banana in its hand. On this backpack, the banana is the little actual zip on the backpack. And I just noticed that, again, seen this episode many times now, I've noticed it for the first time today. I just went, that's Chutney Chimp. So they've taken the design of a backpack and then a few episodes later gone, let's make it a cartoon that the kids watch. And then many episodes later go, here's the movie of the cartoon the kids watch. And it's got songs in it. Like, that's your doggy treat for today's episode.
World building, baby.
I'm waiting for that to become self-referential. Like, Chutney Chimp is the Bluey inside the
Yeah,
world.
yeah. Whoa,
like,
meta.
The multiverse is real.
Straight away, new segment. Love it. Dog reference in the name. I'm on board, Frank. I'm on board.
Didn't have to be a pun. It's just a straight up dog reference.
Straight up dog reference. So far, you are 2 for 2 in the doing better at naming sequences than Brendan. So I'm not upset.
A suggestion as well.
Can we go 3 for 3?
We were talking about, okay, what is the most Australian thing in a particular episode?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to go with like True Blue.
Oh my god, that's literally what I had. But I was thinking of like Pat from next door, Lucky's dad. Just when he was hanging out with Washi. Sorry, not this episode. I'm doing it every
Now,
time. I just want to talk about.
I'm going to pick you up on something here.
Yeah.
You say Pat, and that's Lucky's dad. I'd like to think I know the series pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever recall him being referred to as Pat. He's always Lucky's dad.
Oh,
Once.
can I milk this, please? 'Cause
Go on.
ladies and gentlemen. This might only happen once. where I
Tell
might.
me, school
all
me.
right. I reckon. Oh, should we do it? Because it's about a different episode. Oh, we can sneak it in, can't we?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no.
Oh,
He does. Maybe I'll give the line.
Give
You'll
the-
know it from the line.
Okay.
Oh, but
Try
it's
me.
like it's either "suck it up, Pat" or "toughen up, Pat," and Bandit says it, and I'm just gonna leave that, and maybe that'll be a little that'll work on Frank's mind. Maybe the listeners know that there is an episode, and it might only happen once. But I actually had this same discussion with my sister because I was like, he has a name, doesn't he? He has a name, and everyone was telling me he didn't.
You hear Bandit and
I
Chili
looked at-
refer to him as Lucky's dad.
Yeah, it's everyone
Yeah,
says
even
Lucky's
Chili.
dad, but there is a moment where he's referred to by his name, and I actually didn't find that moment. I had to look it up because I was like, no, I know that he has a name, and I looked it up on I don't know if it was IMDb or like there's an actual Bluey wiki that I looked it up, but I found his name. That's my memory though, and so I could just be totally wrong. Yeah. But
I'm
yeah,
going to have to
agree.
think on that. I'm going to have to think on that. If
Nice
any
one.
of the listeners out there know, feel free to write us or tweet us and let us know if
and when.
Brenny is correct or not. The only other thing I've got to shout out for this episode is the end credits, where we start to get a bit of different animation rather than just Bluey doing her little dance. And of course, the star of the show, we get Muffin stomping on her back. The backpack, what I love is the backpack gets thrown onto screen first, and then she runs into camera and just stomp, just jumping and bouncing up and down on this silly backpack. I loved it.
We didn't get to the actual segment of True Blue or True
Oh,
no, we
please.
didn't.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, do it.
So I think for me, the most Australian thing is probably the barbecue setup.
yeah.
So it's in the shot with Muffin. And the fact that it's so understated, if you're not particularly
I must admit, I missed
looking
that.
for it. But it's, it's the classic sort of park.
The park barbecue. Yeah.
And there's some good shots. I think it's just all the park.
You got to get it
Water fountain doesn't-
fiery hot before you cook on it because you got to scrape it because you don't know what has pooed on that barbecue.
I think you can see like a covered bin in the background, like a covered wheelie bin. That's pretty good. Or the playgrounds with the shades. One of the things that I'm like, that's not super familiar is the water fountain.
Oh.
At least in Adelaide, they don't have ones that look.
Well, I mean, this is
Specifically
Bluey is
like that,
Bluey is based out
generally.
of Brisbane.
I think
Like-
it must be a Brisbane.
It's
Yeah.
funny. I was thinking about that when we were talking about that earlier. I was thinking that I do recognize that water fountain and I do know those designs, but it's only like a recent thing. I can remember seeing it at like there's some at Adelaide Uni, I reckon, around the front, and they're like a weird that run back onto themselves. I'm pretty sure I've seen some in Adelaide.
Sure.
But yeah, no, it's interesting that they would have chosen that because it is a pretty niche design. But you Marty, being industrial designer, you would have been loving that. Like,
This
it's like a-
is from the stainless steel era of.
it's like a chair that has no earthly business being a chair. Yeah, True Blue's good. I thought it could be like, hey, Truey Bluey. And then every time I reference to it, I do a bad, like, John Williamson voice.
Williams,
And see how long you guys put up with me. So that's that one time? All right.
That's about the length of it.
We haven't touched on music though. We do have like Ode to Joy or like the Beethoven music come in.
Yes.
The creators must just be such music nerds. There's a little plinky plonkiness, which might even be, I'm not quite sure. I don't know what the piece of music well enough to tell if it's like running into it, and then all of a sudden it swells.
Yeah.
It suggests it.
As well.
You have to be a bit of a Beethoven nerd to pick it up to begin with. Like it does kind of suggest it as it's coming in, which actually leans well into the segment that everybody loves, What Was Altered Willie's Whimper, where you guys get to guess what made me most emotional, but that's kind of giving it away. It's suggesting it. Then when Bingo just gets back up and just goes, wipes the tear away, and there's art.
I would have thought it's right at the end where, I could practically imagine your dad just going, nice work, Brendan, when you finally ride off into the sunset on your own.
Well, there you go. Maybe you don't know me as well as you thought you did. No, I must admit that was high up there because Bandit, what a dad. God, this it's been a week since we last recorded, but it's like riding a bike, isn't it?
Oh, boom, boom.
And that bit's getting cut out, and we'll go straight into the bit where I say, folks, thank you so much for joining us. Please join us next time on the Hammerbarn Project. You'll find us at aisle 300 at your local Hammerbarn, left at the fake grass. If you see a flamingo, you've gone too far.